Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartel, Anthony Hartwig in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This one brought to you by Coca's Pizza, too. It's the Canfield Cardinals Coach's Corner with head coach Matt Reel from the girls basketball team joining us today. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing outstanding.
I want to talk a little bit about these practices you guys have gotten to. I mean, it's practice season, it's scrimmage season right now for girls basketball. What have you seen in practices? What are some girls that have stood out, and what are some names we need to get used to for this program?
We've had really solid practices. Our school's been going through some sickness in the last week, so we've had girls in and out, girls coming late from volleyball and getting some rest in between seasons. Had our first scrimmage Saturday. Love the effort that our girls have given. We've gotten a lot better in a short amount of time. In terms of some players, we should be looking for. We have two seniors on our team, Marina Koenig and Aline Barakat, who will have increased roles this year, but were important role players for us last year. Our two returning starters are Jenna Treveri and Carly Fleming, two juniors. They got a lot of varsity experience last year, even though Jenna missed half the year with her injury. And then we think we're going to have four juniors that have not yet experienced some varsity action: Cece Muckleroy, Sophia Castronova, Jenna Havrilla, and Loriana Janone. All of them, to some degree, played a little bit last year for us, but we're a really inexperienced team, and we're a young team in terms of varsity experience.
Coach, when you think about the identity of this team and how it can shift, we saw it shift a couple of years ago when you lost a big senior class and you became more of a big shooting team, and now this year you might have to adjust a little bit again. Talk about what you've seen already on what the identity and strengths of this team might be based on the personnel that you do have.
That's a really good question, Anthony, and it's something we're still figuring out. We're using the scrimmage season to try a lot of different things and a little different combinations, and we think we can maybe pressure a little bit more because we have some good athleticism, especially in our guard ranks. We're probably not as good of a shooting team as we've been in the past, and we also lack a lot of size. So we're trying to figure out some things, and sometimes it's tough to predict what's going to be effective, especially early on with girls who don't have a lot of experience. We're trying a lot of things, and I think the first half of the year is going to be a lot of experimentation and trying to figure out what fits us best.
You're always learning as a coach too, and I'm sure always learning year in and year out too. What has this year taught you so far as a coach too, and what are some things you're trying to bring knowledge-wise this year into coaching?
That to me is the fun thing, and being somebody that was mentored by Coach Cullen and Coach Pav, who's on our staff. What I always respected the most about Coach Cullen is he just wanted to learn everything about the game and never felt like he had all the answers. And I certainly learned that from him, and I don't have all the answers. We're trying this year to make sure our girls are even closer than they've been in the past in terms of playing for each other, trying to do some things to foster that. We're also trying to make it so that we play even more than we play up and down, even more than we have in previous practice years. So less drills and just playing more and correcting through them playing so they get that experience of playing and try to put them in practice the difficult situations and the chaos that they're going to experience during the game.
Coach, this is something you have to deal with every year, but I want you to talk about just taking girls that are from other sports. Maybe they're coming to you a little bit later than the girls that don't play fall sports, and what it's like to integrate them into the mix when you've had a good mix of girls that you've had from the start and then girls that you've had come in late because they've been doing fall sports.
Listen, I think it's great they're doing fall sports, and we were actually hoping not to see them this early because that would have meant their other sports were going even longer. And that's fine with us because I think winning breeds winning. And, the more competitive situations they're in, the better. In terms of integrating, we're not real complicated, but what we do is we think is simple, but it's actually hard to apply, and they have to make a lot of reads. And so there's not a whole lot of things they have to learn that are brand new. It's just things we're constantly working on and getting better at, decision-making. How do you attack this type of defense, things like that. So it's more conceptual versus running a set play. So, that's not a big deal to me. And I think that competition and them competing in other sports is great.
I love you as a coach because I feel like you consistently do a good job of getting the most out of your players. And I feel like that's a challenge in of itself because there's no secret high school girls have their own set of challenges, their own personalities. They come from different backgrounds. What is your secret to getting the most out of each one of the kids you're able to coach to and get them to reach their full potential on the court and off the court?
Well, I appreciate that compliment, and I think that's how I kind of evaluate coaches: is do they get the most out of their team? And so that's the best compliment I could receive. I think it first starts with the families they have, and the families we have here at Canfield. They want their girls to be coached hard. They let us coach them hard, and the kids, the young ladies are wonderful to work with. And I think instead of like having them work for you, just having them work with you, I think that's a big key, because if they know that you really invested in them as a person, girls play so hard for you. And, and the thing we're trying to get is not just playing hard for their families or else, but play hard for each other. And if we get that done, we have a chance to be really, really good, and we'll reach our full potential as a team. But it's not anything that we do here, I think, that's anything different. But we have great families and great kids who want to work hard, and they have a desire to be really, really good. And when you have that, it's a lot easier to coach than if you don't.
Coach, let's dive into your schedule. We'll start with the conference inside the AAC. It's a smaller conference, but it's a tough conference. We know that every year. It's a one that you have to go through the gauntlet to get through. Talk about what you see out of the conference this year and some of the expectations out of the AAC.
Well, it's funny, when the 7 divisions came out, we were Division 4, and we were the only Division 4 team in the conference. I texted all the coaches and said, we just hope to stay within 20 of all you guys, since you playing these giant schools. We're the little Hoosiers team from Hickory trying to compete. But I think last year was the best year, and I thought our conference stacked up to any in our area in terms of the quality of play. We were 4-4 and could easily have been 6-2. That's how tight all the games were. I probably would say that Harding is the favorite coming back, just because of the amount of experience they have. Some of their young players that are freshmen and sophomores have taken some lumps, getting varsity experience, and I think they're now ready to blossom. So they're going to be a tough team. Fitch always has excellent athleticism, and Dan does a really good job getting them to play hard. Howland has Howland. Howland's always one of the premier programs in our area, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And we're interested. Obviously we have a little connection to Annie Pavlininsky at Boardman, and kind of a fresh set of eyes, and taking over for Coach Hammerton, who did such a great job with him last year. We expect it to be another competitive year. Maybe not as good of overall, maybe some experienced talent, but we think there's a lot of young talent in the league.
Let's also talk about the non-conference schedule, Coach. You have a smaller conference, so you're able to go outside of it quite a bit and test yourself. What kind of teams pop up non-conference that you're excited about?
Well, we have our traditional opponents. We play West Branch, Struthers, Louisville. We always play Stowe. We're looking at probably playing Laurel Academy. Streetsboro is added on there. We think it's a pretty formidable schedule there. We added on Revere, playing before the Cavs at a game. It's a demanding schedule, and we're excited for the challenge, and we think that we have a lot of the really good teams in D4 on our schedule. We also added Norton, who's perennially a district final regional team. So we think by the time tournament time rolls around, whatever our record is, we're going to be really prepared.
I'm excited for it too. That non-conference schedule is a gauntlet as well. As Anthony mentioned, gauntlets with the conference. Non-conference is no different too in premier basketball teams. What are some of the things you want to see growth in from game 1 to game 22 of the season?
We need to become a better rebounding team, and that's going to be difficult with our size. Everybody kind of minimizes how important height is in basketball, and I think every team's not as tall as they used to be, with other things going on in girls athletics. But we're especially short, so we're gonna have to do that better. The only thing about girls playing other sports is we want them to concentrate on the sports. So sometimes when they come in and they haven't been doing any off-season shooting, it takes them a little bit longer to shoot the ball. And a lot of times we'll look at a game and we've lost it, and we just say, hey, we got to make more shots, and so we got to become a better shooting team. But I expect this team especially to be a completely different team game 22 to game 1, just because we have so many young pieces that don't have that experience. And once they start getting used to the speed of the varsity game, the intensity of it, the physical play, I think their talent's really going to show. So those are probably the 2 biggest things, though.
That's a big picture growth question, but when you talk about the next couple weeks and things that you and the coaching staff want to see out of these scrimmages that you're going to have before game one, what's kind of the game plan or the things on your checklist that you want to see out of these scrimmages that you're going to have in the next few weeks before game one comes upon us?
I think the biggest thing for us as coaches is we want to try to help our girls find their role in varsity basketball because we kind of think there's three parts of becoming a varsity player. The first one is getting used to the game. The second one is figuring out what you can do and what's your strength that's going to work against other varsity players. And the third thing is what are those areas you need to improve as you're kind of leaning toward your strengths that will really help you grow. And boy, we got exposed in a lot of different areas. We played 6 different teams up at Wadsworth on Saturday, and we have another scrimmage at Solon on Saturday with multi-teams, and we played Norton on Wednesday. And, I think we got to do a better job of handling full court pressure. Sometimes we have great looks, but we don't complete the pass, or we'll have a great look for a layup and we'll fumble it out of bounds, or we'll miss the layup. It'll be a layup on the other end. And so we just got to become better finishers of plays. We're making good ideas and good decisions, but, basically it comes down to you got to go make the play when it comes available to you. So I would say that's probably what we're looking for in the next 4 scrimmages.
I love having a theme question for my basketball coaches each and every year. And this year it's about what the game has taught you. You guys are teachers of the game. You teach so many student athletes, but I want to know what's the biggest lesson the sport of basketball has taught you?
Basketball has been great to me. It's been a huge part of my life since I was 8 years old. And, if I would think about one thing it's taught me is, that the game is really good to those who give back. And, if a younger coach calls you up, and I used to be that coach calling up older coaches, and now I'm that old guy that, occasionally somebody calls up, it's, the ability to give. And I think, giving back to the game that's been so good to us is really important. I think it also is a game that rewards people who put in the time. If you are dedicated to it and you really have a passion for it, generally in the long run, it's going to work out well for you.
All right, Coach, we wouldn't end these interviews without giving you the chance to talk about your coaching staff. I know you put great staffs together every year. Talk about the coaches that you have in the program this year that are helping you make Canfield as great as it is.
Sure. It's, we are one of our assistant coaches at the high school is Pat Pavlansky, and he was a coach here for 19 years before me. He's been coaching. We tease him. He's about 104 years old and been coaching about 80 years. So, he's got a lot of experience there. We also have a new coach on staff, Coach Jason Morrell, who's also a football coach and a baseball coach for us. And I know in the few practices he's been here since football's been over, he's really enjoyed working with the girls. We also have a volunteer assistant this year, Harmony Stanger, who actually played on our 2001 state team. So she had helped out at Cheney the last few years, is coming over to help us a little bit here. And then at the middle school, we have Coach Jim Harmon and Coach Mike Merritt, who both have over 20 years experience coaching our 7th and 8th graders. So I feel blessed to have a staff that's committed and really has the best interests of the girls in mind.
Coach, I mean, with basketball season coming upon us, it always reminds me of Thanksgiving, too, because it's always the start of Girls and Boys season, too. So I want you to shout out your first game, too, where the Canfield community can catch you, but I also want you to tell me what's the favorite dish on Thanksgiving Day.
Our first game is here at home Tuesday night before Thanksgiving versus the Ursuline Fighting Irish. So we expect a nice crowd for that and a great game, and we're doing that. And then actually the following day we play at 3:00. We play Revere up at I don't know, what is it, Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse? It's changed so many times, but we play before the Cavs there. For me, give me my mom's homemade stuffing with a little bit of gravy. I'll eat it cold. I'll eat it hot. I'll eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner the day after. So that by far is my favorite.
That's 2 votes for stuffing, too, and I can understand why, man. I say that's where the flavor is, man. The turkey just gives you the protein. The stuffing's where the flavor is at.
Right.
Coach, I thank you so much for giving us the time to kind of give us a solid preview, too. Before we let you go, I want to just give you that spotlight to shine on anybody else that you want to shine in the Canfield community or in your life, too, that's helped you along the way.
Well, I first like to thank my wife because, the amount of time to do this, I think the right way is a ton of time away from them. And she's great about, allowing me to pursue my passion. And she always says that you want to be the same person you are without your passion. So, she makes a lot of sacrifices. And without her, I couldn't do this. Our Canfield community, I think as a whole, we have a strong administration here that wants our sports to do well. And I actually appreciate, we have a lot of students that come to our games. We have a good solid student section of 40 to 50, and we're hoping to double that this year. But, I just feel blessed to be a part of the Canfield community and have the opportunity to coach one more season.
Coach, we thank you so much for the time you give us. We wish you the best of luck on the court this year, as I'm excited to see how these girls grow under your tutelage this year with the Canfield girls basketball team.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. It's been a first edition of Coach's Corner with Matt Reel from Canfield girls basketball.